Hey y'all, it is November the 19th, 2018, and it is below 60 degrees here in San Antonio, and so I'm bundled up. Alright, I wanted to do a personal, quick video for people in the know, for people who want to know, for people who keep their ear to the ground, for people who listen a lot to this channel as well. I appreciate y'all thoroughly. In fact, y'all are the gasoline that I run on. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. I want to talk with y'all, and it's actually kind of an emergency. In a sense, it's very urgent. It's of the most pressing nature, so it'll be considered. And so I want to make a little video about it, and I'm going to probably make a real big video about it. I want to explain that for a little while now. I've been contemplating what's my next move. I put out the documentary, and it was a wild success. It's got like 600 some odd views. So it may not sound like a lot to a lot of y'all, but it's very significant. A lot of people have seen it, and a lot of people are onto this. A lot of people are diving down that rabbit hole. I was trying to figure out, what's the next little video that I want to make. I mean, there's that bloopers thing that I've been kind of slacking on, the director's cut, which I wanted to kind of do, but I've been slacking on it just because I don't want to dive down that. I don't want to dedicate myself to that if there's something else. It's a better idea as far as my next little thing that I want to do. All right, so I think I realized this morning, fairly recently, that my next move, the next thing that I want to document, it's something that almost is embarrassing, right? I got to admit to you, it's a little bit embarrassing, kind of running behind. There's people, what I want to make my video about next is something that people have been talking about since a week after the shooting, right? Since like days after the Parkland shooting in question. People have been saying the exact thing what I want to bring to the table, all right? And as I dig in, I find out more and more of these things that people already knew about. It's just I really need to bring to the table. Everybody needs to know about this, all right? It's extremely urgent, okay? I want to preface by saying, if you see my documentary, if you carried it all the way through, it's a heck of a rabbit hole. A lot of unanswered questions. Nothing hardly makes sense. And then you're going to notice at the end, if there's certain footage of this and that, and the other, and it comes almost from left field. It might catch you by surprise. And you might see and go, oh, you might even wonder why I even put that in the documentary. And just to be truthful, I got to let you know, it's kind of by chance. Like, really, I was thinking about ways I could end the documentary, and it's just kind of happened. I came across that video. I remembered people talking about it, and I thought, it's kind of interesting. The only way in which it related, the last video about the Muslim compound, if you remember the very last part of the documentary, the only way in which it related, to be honest, is that they mentioned that the person or the people, the adults running that compound, they had mentioned how they were training some of the children to be school shooters. All right, it sounded random and stuff, but that's what caught my attention. It happened right after Parkland. So when they said school shooters were being trained on that compound, it caught my attention. I remembered it. And then months later, as I was doing research for this documentary, I saw it again. And I was like, it's an interesting twist. I'll throw it out there. Now, the thing about the documentary, when I wanted to make a point of it, it was that I'm not telling you what happened at Parkland. I do not know, all right? Thing is, I can guarantee you most people do not know. Most people on Earth have no clue what happened at Parkland, all right? But, however, I was just asking simple questions and stuff. I was wanting some answers. A lot of people do. And, I was talking about it, and then I put that thing at the end just to, just to kind of add that it's a possibility that something could be awry here. Right? So possibility is kind of abnormal. You got a sheriff Israel doing this and that at mosque years before and stuff. I thought I'd throw it in there because here's the thing. Ultimately, the more and more you study Nicholas Cruz, you're going to notice there's no motivation. He doesn't have no motivation. It doesn't even make sense. If he did do it, he did it and it didn't make sense. Now, if we're thinking about motivation, I threw that little twist at the end of the documentary just because if you were thinking like nefariously, you might think, oh man, you know, there's certain constituents that might have a motivation. There's certain people who might benefit from widespread chaos over at Parkland, this and that, people all afraid and wanting to ban guns. There's people who actually might benefit from that. All right. So I was throwing that in there as a possibility. Now, if you remember at all, there was a number of people who was implicated over there, and I believe it's New Mexico or Arizona or something like that. There's a number of people implicated, and one, they all had silly names, but one was named Saraj Wahhaj. All right? It's a really silly name. Okay? So if you remember, there was a child found on the compound. There was all sorts of children found on the compound, but one was found dead, wrapped up in plastic. His name is Abdul. Okay? His father was supposedly, allegedly, a Saraj Wahhaj. Stupid names, but that was his father's name, allegedly. All right? During a ceremony, trying to relieve him of demon. Trying to relieve him of demons. They killed the little boy on accident. They buried him in plastic stuff out in the desert. So, you know, that was interesting. I threw that in there, not telling you that these people had anything to do with it, not even implying that they did. In fact, I put in the documentary, I said, this is a completely unrelated situation that I thought I'd throw in there. All right. I was satisfied by that. It just was a little quirk, and it's kind of my style to throw that in there. All right. But as I'm doing more research, and the thing is, a lot of y'all already probably know this, but Saraj Wahhaj, Abdul's father, he has a father. What's his name? What do you think his name is? Saraj Wahhaj. All right. So Saraj Wahhaj is actually Saraj Wahhaj Jr., and there's another Saraj Wahhaj. All right. Who's that guy? Huh? From what I found out, the other Saraj Wahhaj. Saraj Wahhaj Sr., he's an imam. Where is he based out of? I don't know, like New York or something. He's actually kind of a famous imam. All right. What's an interesting note, and there's a lot of interesting notes. What's an interesting note is that Saraj Wahhaj Sr., the granddaddy of Abdul, who got killed in the ceremony, Saraj Wahhaj Sr. not only has been described as Linda Sarsour's spiritual advisor. I want you to soak that in. Linda Sarsour's spiritual advisor. We're talking about Saraj Wahhaj, the granddaddy of Abdul, got killed in the ceremony, buried in plastic. He's the, from what I understand, the spiritual advisor of Linda Sarsour. Not only that, actually came down to Broward County itself and delivered, get this, 2 speeches at CARE fundraisers. That's CAIR, if you know what that is. At CARE fundraisers in Broward County, get this, at the end of 2016. Can you tell me what else was happening at the end of 2016? All right, so 2 things that seem almost unrelated. The New Mexico, Arizona thing, the Parkland thing. In fact, they're very, very closely related. You're talking Saraj Wahhaj, you're talking Nezar Hamze, you're talking Linda Sarsour, you're talking Broward County, you're talking about New York, you're talking about all across the country. All right, so that, I believe, is what my next video is going to be about. I have no idea that all these people conspired. I do know that they pretty much look very much like they conspired. I'm asking questions. There's been people asking questions since a week out from the shooting. God bless them. I'm embarrassed at how behind I am compared to some people. We need to follow these people. They're on Twitter. We need to find out who they are, all these people who've had questions, and we need to back them and support them because we also have questions. We want justice. All right, and this thing has gone beyond ridiculous. And I want to let you know before I get out of here that the music broadcast, on another note, that's going to be going down, especially this week, this upcoming week, because yesterday I tested it out and it was actually working great. All right, I was testing out the technicals as far as Twitch.tv. I'm going to let you know as far as before the week's out how you can find me on Twitch. We're going to do that music broadcast. We're going to relax, and we're going to do all sort of big things. We're going to have all sort of fun. All right, so catch me on that as well. But things are really popping in the streets. Stuff is way beyond Twilight Zone. All right, and I'll holler at y'all later, and I appreciate y'all. It's November the 20th, 2018.